English, Standard 12, Unit 1, Prose, Two Gentlemen of Verona, written by A.J. Cronin. Conclusion. The nurse took him to a little cubicle and asked him to look through the glass partition. He saw the two boys sitting at the bedside of a girl of about 20. "Won't you go in?" the nurse murmured. "Lucia will be pleased to see you." I shook my head and turned away. I felt I could not bear to intrude upon this happy family party. But at the foot of the staircase, I drew up and begged her to tell me all she knew about these boys. Intrude means entering without permission. Intrude. Enter without permission. The author did not want to enter without the permission of the boys. He just replied the nurse no and begged her to tell him all she knew about the boys and the girl. She was eager to do so. They were, she exclaimed, quite alone in the world, except for their sister, Lucia. Their father, a widower, a well-known singer, had been killed in the early part of the war. Shortly afterward, a bomb had destroyed their home and thrown the three children into the streets. They had always known a comfortable and cultured life. Lucia had herself been training as a singer, and they had suffered horribly from near starvation and exposure to the cold winter. The girl with whom they were talking to in the cubicle was their sister. She was propped up on pillows, wearing a pretty lace jacket. Her eyes were soft and tender. Their father had been killed in the war, and also a bomb had destroyed their home, their house. They had suffered from starvation and exposed to the cold winter. For months, they had barely kept themselves alive in a sort of shelter they built with their own hands amidst the rubble. Rubble means debris, broken bricks, rubble. Debris, broken bricks. So in the midst of broken bricks, they had their own shelter, and they suffered a lot due to starvation. And they had stayed in a sort of shelter in the midst of rubble. They joined the resistance movement against the Germans. The boys grew in hate to the Germans. When the resistance movement began secretly to form, they were among the first to join. When the war was over and we had peace at last, they came back to their beloved sister, and they found her suffering from tuberculosis of the spine. So the boys hated the Germans. So they joined in the resistance movement against the Germans. After the war, they had found their sister Lucia was suffering from tuberculosis of the spine. So the war was ended. There came peace, but they couldn't live in peace. They found their sister suffering from tuberculosis of the spine, backbone tuberculosis. She paused, took a quick breath. Did they give up? I do not have to answer that question. They brought her here, persuaded us to take her into the hospital. In the 12 months she has been our patient, she has made good progress. There is every hope that one day she will walk and sing again. The boys brought their sister to the hospital, big hospital. They had to pay money for the treatment. So every week they had to pay the money for her treatment. They visited her every week. And of course, everything is so difficult now. Food so scarce and dear. We could not keep going unless we charged a fee. But every week, Lucia's brothers have made their payment. She added simply, I don't know what they do. I do not ask. Work is scarce in Verona, but whatever it is, I know they do it well. Scarce means rare. Scarce, rare. So work is very rare and very less in Verona. And the nurse added, saying that, of course they had to receive certain amount of money for the treatment of Lucia. The boys every week paid the money for their sister's treatment. They visited her every week, chatted with her happily, and paid for her treatment. The nurse added, saying that works are very less, very scarce in Verona, but she did not know how they would earn, but she was sure that they would earn their money with sincere hard work and earned their money earnestly for the treatment of their sister. She believed in the hard work of the boys. Yes, I agreed. They couldn't do it better. The author was a witness how the boys were working throughout day and night. And so the author knew the work, the earnestness, the sincerity, the dutifulness, and the responsibility of the boys. And so he said, I agreed. He agreed to the words of the nurse. And he concluded saying that they couldn't do it better. They sacrificed everything for the treatment of their sister. I waited outside until the boys rejoined me and then drove them back to the city. They sat beside me, not speaking. For my part, I did not say a word. I knew they would prefer to feel that they had safely kept their secret. Yet their devotion had touched me deeply. War had not broken their spirit. Their selfless action brought a new nobility to human life, gave promise of a greater hope for human society. Their devotion had touched the author, the narrator, deeply. When the boys returned to the car, he did not utter a word and drove them towards the city. He took them to the city. On the way, he did not ask them anything. He understood that the boys did not want anybody's charity, anyone's sympathy. So he did not ask about what he saw in the hospital. The boys also did not disclose their problem to the narrator. They maintained their self-respect. The boys displayed that courage amidst extreme poverty and devastation. The author found real inspirations from their lives. Their selfless action brings a new nobility to human life. It gives promise of a greater hope for human society. War had not broken their spirit. Their selfless action brought a new nobility to human life, gave promise of a greater hope for human society. War had not broken their spirit. They just worked for the welfare of their system with hope and courage. Really, they are two gentlemen of Verona.